I just thought of the name of this video as I contemplated my unscripted intro for this WRV. I think I'll name it Trek for 1/3 the price. Meaning this watch, the Casio SGW300 HB, is a Casio ProTrek for 1/3 the price. I reviewed previously the PRG300 series, the PRG270 series in the same video. This is a PRG270 here. Triple sensor. Excellent watch. But it might be a little bit pricey for some of y'all. This is about 1/3 the price. I spent about $61 of Patreon and ad money to buy it for review. The completely independent reviewing voice of TNP. No, Casio does not send these to me. I buy them, just like you do. Then I can say whatever I want, and I always do. Yep. Hey, I review all kinds of watches. You should know that at this point. We're about a year and a half into the watch review cycle here. Kind of newer content for the flow. The elite watch them. That would be you, by the way. And I'm not just glued to Casio, G-Shock, ProTrek. No, I've done Seiko, Citizen, Aviate, other different brands that I like. You know, not necessarily that will be popular with the proverbial winds of change here in the internet, in YouTube. No, I just review what I like. I think, for instance, this Casio SGW300 HB would be an outstanding backpacking watch. It's only 1.6 ounces, and I think it's relatively affordable. So if it, for whatever reason, got totally trashed out there, or you lost it, who cares? It's only 60 bucks. It's not going to break the bank. I might cry a little bit harder with a PRG 270. This one is not that expensive. $147 is what it cost me. Price subject to change. PRG 300s can go all the way up to $200. Maybe you would be better off going with the twin sensor option. We'll talk about that of this one, the SGW300 HB. There might be some other variations of this watch, the SGW300. Please use my links below. It furthers this independent reviewing process, which I have been doing now for 12 years in TNP. And they'll be below. If I find some other variations in Amazon, I'll let you know about them. But I don't know how they would beat this one as far as looks and as far as what I like. That is to say, in this particular watch, I like a tactical look. I like a subdued look in the SGW300. So it has an OD black case. We have some aqua highlights, orange highlights, leather reinforced, olive drab nylon strap. It just looks cool. It looks militaristic. It looks tactical. It would be another great duty watch for my TNPrs who are law enforcement and military members. Perfect option. And I think in the military you don't necessarily have to go with a black. I think you can have like a camouflage or OD colors in most of the services. Yours may be different. I don't know. It'd be great that way. Another thing I love about this watch, the overall presentation I established I really like, but I love its legibility. Check it out. This is huge with me, and I've talked about it in some other reviews, especially with digital watches. I don't like tiny little numbers that are hard to pick off the information. The classic Casios tend to be more like that. And I'm not saying I don't run watches like that. I have several of them. Here comes a Casio to be reviewed separately. DW9052, a competitive option. It is representative of what I am talking about. So it's a classic G-Shock presentation. And honestly, nowadays, that is its own type of cool. The G-Shock look is its own type of cool. I've talked about it for so long. But the numerals are smaller. The digits are smaller. Can I still read the time readily in this variation? Sure. But I like this one better. Better. Now, maybe it's because my eyes as I get older, you know, ain't what they used to be. That's for sure. But it's just nice. I just like it. And that's something I raved about in the PRG 300 270 series, like this one. So this has the same type of digits, albeit in this module, they're a little bit bigger. Huge in legibility. Also, notice the screen splits in the SGW300. So and this is just background colors they're putting on the LCD. It's pretty simple for Casio to do this, but man, it sure makes a watch so much more interesting in presentation. So we have kind of a cream colored LCD at the top showing constantly the day and date. I love that about Casios. So many of the watches don't do that, or in Anadij watches, the presentation is so small it's very hard to see. Then we have an interesting countdown graphic in the middle. It's pretty much worthless. It's just for, I don't know, eye contrast, and it's just for looks. But that's our aqua green presentation. And then we have kind of a bluish standard LCD presentation below. So basically 3 colors. I like that. Outlined in a black bezel. And then we have the markings for our functions on the periphery. There's that orange highlight I was talking about. It's for the altimeter function. I don't know if this is technically a G-Shock. Again, it's in the ProTrek series. So is it totally recessed if we talk about durability and scratching the mineral crystal? Not really. I haven't put a crystal protector on this one yet. I will. It's not as recessed as some of the other G-Shocks. A competitive option, for instance, would be the Star Wars Casio GD350, previously reviewed. And man, also showing the same type presentation. In fact, the presentation is identical. I raved about the GD350, right? Get rid of that reflection. But this one's more recessed. This is my point in bringing the GD350 out here. So more G-Shocky, isolated module. I think this watch has the same thing. It is water resistant to 100 meters, which is plenty deep for most people. You can see that right here. Sweat and bang factor are very low, especially with a cloth band. Where I'm migrating more and more, I'm slapping NATOs pretty much on everything because cloth just breathes so well. It's so comfortable, and you don't feel like you need to rip it off your wrist in the summer to air out all the time. That's just me. I do it all the time. Bang factor it's there. I'm calling it low because I don't think it's that high of a watch. Let me get my caliper, my digital caliper, and we'll just measure it here on camera, which is fun. By the way, on the table, the Pissed Off Owl patch at nutnfancybigcartel.com. We've got a beautiful case canoe knife in blue barn board. Very cool. I haven't reviewed it yet. Can you believe that? Then I got a Webley revolver there. So fun. All right, so distance across, and I like the bigger watches. I really do. Distance across is going to be 47. Thereabouts. Let me get a good measurement right here. We'll call it 46. And then the height, I'm going to round down. We'll say 13. So that's not that big. And remember how light it is. Just 1.6 ounces. So this is a watch, honestly, you wear just like many of the Casios, to include the PRG series, the PRW series. You just forget you have them on. They're so comfortable. Now, I'm going to mention this in a lot more WRVs because I'm advocating it. I pretty much wear 2 watches all the time. And I'm not the first to do it, but I started doing it. I didn't see anyone else doing it, but now I'm starting to notice it's common. And I'm not talking 2 of the watches of the same type like Schwarzkopf used to do. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about you'll wear perhaps an analog. This is my daily wear today, a Sterling Vintage Pilot watch. Super awesome. Link below. And then I'll have, in this case, an Apple Watch on my other wrist. So now I have full technology, messaging, fitness tracking, all types of computer functions, full technology on my right wrist. But I wear a black band because I don't really want this to stand out. This is kind of a first cool thing. This is a watch that gives me happiness on my left wrist. That's what I do. No apologies if guys go, oh, I can't believe you do that. And then I look at the guy saying that, and he's wearing like a 12-ounce Leatherman multi-tool bracelet on his wrist and a watch. Anyways, I see a lot more people doing it. I'm seeing it in advertisements now too. So I'm going to continue to sell that because I think I don't want smartwatches to take over the world. I don't think they have any soul. I think a standard G-Shock, a standard watch has soul, and I don't ever want us to lose that. That's just me. I see a lot of people just going to the smartwatch thing, and there they'll stay. They'll never come back to it. That's kind of sad to me. So sad. Let's look at the case again real close. Notice the big buttons you can push, so they're very ergonomic. and you can see the temperature and barometer sensor right here. So it's going to get its information. I did put a sticker on this. I'm not taking it off. So I will try to annotate the module number for you. So if there's any function that I didn't cover in this WRV, you can look it up. You just type in Casio, the module number, and then it'll show you all the functions should you so desire. Oh, 60 bucks, not 61. Price will go up and down, and this watch could be discontinued, changed at any time. Watches are commodities. I have been changing some batteries in my Casios of late, frequently actually, and I'm happy to report their O-rings are actually reusable, unlike previous generations in the 1980s when I did it. It seems like when I would change them out then, the O-ring would pop out and you just lost all water resistance. I don't think that will be the case with the SGW300 or the other Casio products, and it's relatively easy to do. The battery should last you about 2 years in this module, maybe a little bit more, a little bit less, depending on how much you use the light and alarm. This is not a solar powered watch. It is not atomic timekeeping, but remember, it's 1/3 the price. So you're getting a value ProTrek with twin sensor capability, but you kind of lose out on those. And some other module features. Let's go through that really quick. Pretty self-explanatory what you're looking at there. There's your barometer function and temperature. I have it set to inches. I have not synced it with my local airport ATIS function. That's what I recommend you do. And you'll just use this to set units. I believe it's this button right here, upper left. And you can use it that way. And then you have a temperature function. Always works best off the wrist. To be honest, I never use that. Again, another reason I'm wearing my smartwatch. So right now I'm seeing outside temperature is 44 degrees. Awesome. By the way, I love the Apple Series 2. I absolutely love it. The Series 3 came out recently, and I'm sure it's just as excellent. I have this set to UTC now. This is your world time. It is excellent as far as you do have another time zone you can set. What I don't like about this module is it's only single slewable. I can't, this is a light and it's a dedicated light. I can't go back and forth between time zones. So once you skip a time zone, you're going to have to cycle all the way through. I don't remember if this has a swapping function. I doubt it, between the home time and your world time. Some of them do, and you can press a button. Look in the module instructions and it'll tell you all about that. And then we go to a stopwatch, and then reset will be upper left. Pretty self-explanatory, and yes, I use that all the time. Interestingly, I'd rather use it on a watch like this than I would my iWatch. So I'm not in range of my cell phone right now, so I can't talk to it, but usually I'll say start timer for such and such time, and it'll do it just fine. It's so much easier just do it here, because it's just a presentation and it doesn't, as I call, bury in the function of your smartwatch. So I'll start a timer, then I look back into it. Now I'm looking at something different, you know, like weather. And it seems like I'm always bumping things with my iWatch, and I'm really never looking at the display I want to. Meaning, I don't think it's a great watch. It's a wrist computer. Time remaining function, you guys know how to work that. We have multiple alarms. I think 5 alarms in a signal. And if I press and hold this, you should be able to hear the standard Casio beep. A little bit louder in this module, the SGW300. It would wake me up and has woken me up. Again, this is a ProTrek for less, so one thing you will not get with this module is compass direction. So you got barometer, temperature, and altimeter. Pretty good deal for 60 bucks, I say. By the way, notice it'll beep twice when you go back to home time. Or a different beep, I'm sorry. There it is, kind of a higher pitch beep. And those are the functions of the SGW300. Let's look at the loom, which is pretty awesome, I think. As we look at it here in the missile silo. Oh, that's so excellent. By default, I think it lasts 1 second. You can select it to 3 seconds on the SGW300. Great loom. Awesome, awesome watch. Durability will be fantastic, I think, unless you are abusive to your timepieces. I'm not, and I have a lot of timepieces that share the wear and tear at this point. So the real test is if some guy wears this watch all day, every day, year after year, and I'm sure someone will show up in the comments that has done it and they will say they love it. That's my prediction. It's a Casio after all. Casios are awesome. Competitive options. Well, I introed with this, the PRG300, I think I'm remembering that right, and this is a PRG270 series. 270B-3 is this one. 2.2 ounces, solar-powered, atomic timekeeping, triple sensor, the latest Casios sensor. This one was 150 bucks, thereabouts. They are awesome watches. Awesome. I mean, I've shown you guys several variations. This is kind of the big case variation. Non-movable bezel. Triple sensor once again. Record keeping, altimeter keeping. You know, just a higher end module. And dual slewable world time. This is what I'm talking about. See that? So I can go back and forth. Get what you pay for. I mean, you're paying triple the price. You get triple the functionality. Then we have altimeter, barometer, and compass here. And we do have temperature as well. Good option, but you're going to be spending a lot more. And I've shown you pink versions, blue versions of the PRG series. How about the GD350? I just showed you that one. Super excellent watch. I ran into a couple TNPrs that bought this watch off my review, and they absolutely love it. I'm going to change that for the reflection. This one right here, the GD350. And the price is going to be similar. I wrote on the back, 76 bucks for the GD350-8. A little bit heavier, 2.6 ounces. It may not slide under the cuff quite as readily as this or that watch. It's just slightly higher, but man, do I love the GD350 series. I love the gray too. And then I showed you the older school Casio DW9052. I really like the blue, and that's why I bought this one. This is such a cool blue. And let me look at the price I paid for this on Amazon. Only 44 bucks. 2.2 ounces. Big buttons, simple module. If you like or don't mind the smaller numerals, definitely a competitive option. And then I'm going to show you this one to remind you how awesome it is. It is the Casio G79 7900 A7 in white. 2.4 ounces, about 70 bucks at the time. Look at how sick that thing is. That's a tide watch, and I do use it in the Zodiac for tide keeping functions. Totally love it, by the way. It is so excellent. And it, as far as presentation goes, it might be my favorite among the watches there. Don't get me wrong, I love all the watches, but I really like this technical astronaut looking appearance of the G7900 in this coloration. Also available in red, very collectible yellow. That was JDM only. They also have it in slate blue gray that I showed you in that review, the G7900. It's just an awesome watch. And it does have dual slewable world time, not atomic, and it's not solar powered, at least in not this variation. The yellow one I showed you, the JDM one, was. There you go, just a couple options. But as far as it goes, for the $60 you would spend for this one, it is trekking for 1/3 the price. Totally is. It's basically the core functionality of this watch, the ProTrek series, for a lot less money, 1/3 the price. And highly, highly recommended. HOF all day long. Nutnfancy.